how do you avoid, let's take your thesis then and accept it now. I'm going to be selfish. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be real talented and charismatic, and I'm going to develop a lot of wealth, and I'm going to have a lot of money and a lot of banks, and pretty soon nobody's going to be able to compete with me because I've already purchased all my competitors. And now I have dictatorial power over people, and I can name the price of bacon or price of oil or whatever it is, the commodity I'm selling.
You know, I agree with you that you're very talented and you could accomplish a great deal and already have, but you're talking about the impossible. In a free society, nobody can become a monopolist or a dictator. The system itself, the free market, will destroy you.
How do you explain Mobil Oil, Exxon? How do you explain the prices that they're able to charge for it?
I think that they're stupid appeasers who get too little and put up with too much.
Who, the oil companies?
Yes.
You
now, just here you have to let me explain.
All right.
If President Carter's own policy admits that we need the oil company and that the lack of oil is a serious national crisis,
right,
which might lead to the stoppage of all industry, if that is what we need, by what right can we tell those men, go ahead and produce what we want, while we're insulting you, while we're trying to control your business, and while we're not leaving you that which you produced? Today, it's crudely obvious. If we need the oil companies, we have only one of two choices. Either we produce oil ourselves, and no government has ever done it or can do it, or we have to accept the oil companies' terms, pay them whatever they can get. The more they get, the more credit to them, because that means the country needs it and pays them. They've produced something needed by the people. And we must say thank you instead of putting or proposing to put a tax on them in order to give the money to the government who does nothing. The government doesn't contribute anything except impediments.
All right. But if we allow the oil companies to have the power which you say has come to them because we need the oil, it's a question of supply and demand.
Yes.
So if we approach this laissez-faire, as I think you would like us to, free of government intervention,
right,
free of all the force and the regulation and the controls which you abhor.
Right.
All right. Now we've got Mr. Gigantic Oil Baron saying $2.50 a barrel, a gallon. Now here's what happens. The guy, the blue-collar guy who's trying to make a living and feed his kids, can't buy gas for his truck, can't possibly survive in the free marketplace, and suddenly he's on welfare, and he's got to go for a handout, another feature of government that you abhor. You can't have it both ways.
But all this is economic fallacies. To begin with, nobody in a free society, now we're talking about a free market,
yeah,
in which the government doesn't interfere, nobody can become a monopolist. All monopolies are created by a special privilege for government. It's only by an act of government that you can keep competitors out of your field. Therefore, you couldn't become that kind of monopoly. The power you hold as an industrialist is not the power to use force. It's the power of producing something of value.
That people want.
And it's the people who literally control you, because every purchase is a vote in the favor of some businessmen and in a way against others. It's the public who decides what they want to buy and what they pass up. If, using your examples, you became this powerful tycoon economically, but you cannot force anybody to deal with you, and you cannot force competitors out of your field, then every smaller man would be in that field because you would have established a price way above the market. You might last months, if that.
You realize, of course, that your critics suggest that that this is a pie-in-the-sky, unpractical notion that you're offering to us, and that it sounds wonderful as you gather with the intellectuals at some university, but it doesn't work out on the street.
Quite the opposite. It's in the universities that it doesn't work, because all the leftist ideas and all the misrepresentation of capitalism come from leftist liberal professors. The universities are the real villains in the picture.
You want less government. All right.
Thank you.
Well, everybody says that. It's a little hard to put that into effect when we've got a country that has such a maldistribution of wealth. You'll give me that, huh? Too few rich, too many poor.
I will give you part of that, because if there is a maldistribution, it's to those who have political pull. If some of your money is made with government help and government favoritism, then I grant you that is unfair and improper and unjust. But if you made it yourself in free competition, enough people want to pay you for your services or your product, then you should keep all of it. Why shouldn't you? You made it.
All right. Okay. When you say that society has no responsibility here, I think individuals have a responsibility to themselves. Is that it?
I don't like the word responsibility involved here.
All right. Well, what should we say then? Help me. What do I... Do what I wish to do. Is that your point? That the more...
No. Do what I rationally think is right, according to the right morality. And help others if you can, but not as a primary obligation. And now, in regard to society, there is no such thing as society, you know. It's all of us. Now, how can we have obligations which we didn't undertake? See, the parents of a child would have obligations for him up to a certain age, since they brought him into the world, but they can't do what is impossible to them. So it doesn't mean that they can at any moment throw the burden on the rest of us. We're a society, everybody's society, and we can't have unearned obligations and unchosen obligations. The government's proper function is only to protect your rights, and that means to protect men from those who initiate force. So the government protects the peace, internal peace, that means the policemen. The government runs the army and navy, protection from outside forces, and law court, so that citizens who disagree can settle their disputes peacefully. That's the only functions of government.
All right. So you like an individual who stands up, man or woman, does what he, she wants to do. You have literally liberated millions of people around the world by merely saying to them in your novels, you want to do it? Do it.
That's exactly, that's true. And if I help them, I'm delighted.